Shitcase Cinema. On the Shitcase Cinema. Oh, it's the Shitcase Cinema. There can be only one.
Now, some people have been asking about Professor Bruce recently. Now, the best reason that I can come up with is he's been time travelling through time and space to find me a whole bunch of shitty films. So, without further ado, here he is, Professor Bruce!
Alright guys, hello.
Oh, for God, do it properly, damn it. It's no wonder I don't bloody use you anymore. Go on, go do it properly.
Fucking charm, it cost me £4 to get here by bus.
God's sake. Professor Bruce, you're back!
Yep, and guess what, John?
What?
I have so many shit films for you. And a good one that you've already got, haven't you?
Shit. So here's Christopher Lambert playing a Scottish fellow named Conor McLeod, looking thoroughly depressed to be sitting watching the wrestling. I remember when I first saw this opening, I was like, oh shit, what's this? Thinking that it was another film. So Lambert goes for a walk to the underground car park and is attacked by a businessman with a sword. So he casually pulls out his own sword and they fight. Just a normal day, I guess, because nobody is freaking out, shouting for the police or anything. It's normal to see two guys having a sword fight. Now Lambert is called an immortal, as is this businessman, meaning that they live forever. Now the only way they can die is by decapitation, which releases some kind of magical spirit force, which you can see here, and it also happens to make everything in close proximity go ape shit. I mean, check out these cars here. So anyway, the thing with Highlander is it keeps jumping back and forth from present day to 1536 in Bonnie, Scotland, where Lambert has a wonderful authentic Scottish accent.
Are you scared, Connor? No, Cousin Dougal, I'm not.
Almost as first class as Sean Connery, pretending to be something other than Scottish, but we'll get to him soon enough. So we see Lambert strolling around in battle over 400 years prior to his car park battle, and it's amusing because everybody is dying, yet nobody will go near him.
Fight me, damn you!
No, that's Conor McLeod!
Fight me, you coward!
No, not him!
Nobody will fight me!
Don't complain, you tit, be thankful! Perhaps they're scared of him or something. So this guy, who looks a little bit like Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat Annihilation, pops up spouting a load of gibberish about there can only be one.
There can be only one.
Only one what? And why can't there be two of whatever you're talking about? Oh dear, he stabbed Lambert. I love his gallant attempts though, he really did try his best there. So he dies. Now we're back in modern day and he's driving around. Oh look, now we're jumping back to Bonnie, Scotland again, where he looks pretty much dead to me. And oh wow, intense stuff, back to present day once again. And Lambert has been arrested and taken to the cop shop for questioning about the dead businessman. Oh look, back to Bonnie fucking Scotland again. It jumps back and forth, an awful lot. And although it's not confusing, unless you're a bit it is a little tedious, but whatever. So, here is our favourite Spanish immortal, Mr. Sean Connery.
Greetings!
Got to love that Spanish accent, but how can Lambert be alive when he died earlier on? Well, you see, I can also jump back and forth in my reviews, such is my power. So, jumping back in true Highlander fashion, Lambert woke up from death's doorstep, was cast out by his village, and he met some nice young lady in the middle of nowhere. So back with Spain's main man, he very quickly tells Lambert and us that the lightning effect here is called the quickening, which isn't important to remember really, although Highlander 2 incidentally is called the quickening, but whatever. Moving on, Sean happily tells him,
We are the same, McLeod! We are brothers!
yes, brothers who are made up of a Spaniard with a Scottish accent and a Scot with a buggered French-American Scottish accent. Wow, that's fucked up. Now this following scene seriously sums up their characters perfectly.
You look like a woman, you stupid haggis.
Haggis? What is haggis?
Sheep's stomach stuffed with meat and barley.
And what do you do with it?
You eat it. How revolting.
Priceless, absolutely priceless. It's comedy gold if you ask me. And that's the one thing with Highlander, it doesn't always take itself 100% seriously, and it does have amusing undertones in it. But just wait for the remake, see what that pile of shit will turn out like. And yes, you heard me correctly, another fucking remake. This film does not need a... oh, what's the point? So it turns out that our favourite Spanish immortal isn't from Spain, he's Egyptian.
I'm not Spanish, I'm Egyptian.
You said you were from Spain. You're a liar.
Still has a lovely Scottish accent though, doesn't he? So he takes Lambert under his wing, teaching him this and that, and then tells him that he must leave his wife.
You must leave her, brother.
God, Sean, what's wrong with you? Are you jealous? Are you gay? Well, it's basically because he doesn't want Lambert to feel the same pain that he's gone through, losing his loved one. So, anyway, what's happened to Shao Kahn's doppelganger? Oh, there he is, about to fight with Sean. Now, Sean kicks his ass because, you know, he used to be James Bond. And he even still has a bit of Bond's humour left in him after he cuts this guy's throat.
My cut has improved your voice.
Unfortunately, Sean loses out and is killed.
There can be only one.
One what? It's all he talks about, but thankfully he then randomly falls down. Oh, that was jolly good. Back in present day, some woman is trying to find out the truth about Lambert and the cops are also curious, but it all pales into insignificance now Sean is dead. There's no point in going on. So on to the saddest part of the film. When Sean told Lambert he'd see his loved one die, he wasn't talking shit because he was jealous or gay. Well, he might have been, but we'll never know thanks to that twat who killed him because there can only be one. Seriously though, it is quite a tear-jerking moment, especially if you invest in the characters and can somewhat relate to the loss of a loved one on some level. Plus, it's got an amazingly beautiful, heart-wrenching song by Queen, which fits perfectly. But let's move on before we all cry ourselves to death. But staying on the topic of Queen, they seem to pop up every time Lambert does something. The film opens with Queen. When he's fighting, Queen come on. His wife is dying, so Queen steal the show. He's sat in a fucking bar getting pissed and Queen come on. God, it's a good job I like Queen. Anyway, let's move on. You see this guy? He's a cock knocker. There can only be one. Who cares? So we get more shifts from present day to past events, seeing how Lambert has survived over all these years. Now this scene's great, where he's having a duel with some arsehole who keeps stabbing him, but Lambert just laughs in his face. You've got to love his laugh as well. It's enough to make me laugh. I just think it's infectious. But Lambert's not laughing here when he's visited in a church by our favourite goon. Notice how he keeps his neck sewn up by safety pins. That's great. And he's cut his hair off himself so he won't be recognised.
This way no one will recognize me.
I do.
Oh well, that plan went to shit, mate. So Kurgan goes for a joyride with this lady here, who Lambert has fallen in love with basically, and now it's on to the final conflict. Now remember, there can only be one, and considering Lambert comes back for the sequel, it'll be no surprise to you that he wins.
There can be only one.
Only one? Ah, not you as well, Lambert. Christ. Wouldn't it be funny if in the sequel he went around going, there can only be two, and then it gets to the third film and he goes, there can only be three? It'd be completely retarded, but it would be amusing on some level. So anyway, he goes for a spin in the air on some wires while everything goes ape shit around him, and that's the film pretty much summed up. So, good stuff overall. It's a bit dated, sure, but it doesn't need a goddamn remake, and if you don't like it, you're a stupid haggis. 7.5 out of 10.